Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more.
You're listening to The Man That Can Project with Lachlan Stuart, a global movement created to empower men and open up what's really going through their minds by having real and raw conversations about life's unique challenges and our individual ways of processing it all. Welcome to The Man That Can Project.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode. Thanks for joining me, and it's been awesome to see everyone sharing the episodes and even reaching out on Instagram and sharing the takeaways that you're getting. It's fucking awesome to see. I'm Lachlan Stuart, and I'm your host. So today's episode was a conversation that I had with Tom Crockett, who's a member of the Inner Circle program that we offer, and we just had a recap around the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which was one of the books that we read during the Inner Circle book club. And just really took away his perspectives, what he's looking to implement, and how it's improving his quality of life. I think for a lot of us, that first point of change is 1, becoming aware of what we need to improve, but then 2, how we can implement it into our own life, and then 3, obviously taking action on that to create an improvement. So Tommy's time is extremely valuable, as is everyone's. So I appreciate him giving up the time to jump on this call. Now, gents, before we dive in, if you haven't read up on the Inner Circle program, or if you haven't joined the free Facebook group, make sure you do, because I'm pumping out more educational content and webinars and coaching videos than I have ever before, because I want to give you access to as many free resources as possible, much like this podcast, so that then if you feel like you're ready to play a bigger game, you're ready to take your life to that next level, then the next steps for you are the Inner Circle or are the breakthrough experience or one-on-one coaching. But they're all available to you. But just so you can understand how I operate and who I am as an individual, those things are going off. So definitely check out the free Facebook group. We'll see you in there. I look forward to connecting. As for that, let's rip into the episode. Hi, guys. Welcome back. I'm not sure whether Tommy's frozen. Are you frozen, Tommy? No, you're good.
No, I'm all right now.
This was supposed to be a Facebook Live, so those who watch this recording, thanks for tuning in. We were having some difficulties with social media, but we've got Tommy the Man Crockett on the other line. He's just got back from Yeppoon, about to head to Dubbo, but he's managed to make some time to fit us in for a bit, just to talk about some learnings he's had over the last month. And I really wanted to get you on top, Tommy, because for me, you're someone who speaks really well, and I always get a ton of knowledge when you share some insightful things around things that you've learned and what you've looked to implement, and how you could, how it could have helped you earlier in life, I guess, because it's really important for me and for everyone who watches this to learn from others, but also going back to you just spend some time listening to an audio book, or for those who read it, and you can take so much away from that, but it's really about actioning the things that we're learning. So it'd be cool to, we're recapping the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, but obviously for the purpose of the group, let's call it 7 Habits of Highly Effective Men. I'd like to trademark that. No. But yeah, TC, I guess for those who haven't been graced with your presence before, there are a few podcast episodes where you can learn more about Tommy. We had, remember the toolbox chats when we were working at the quarry?
Oh yeah, yes.
Yes,
It would have
the
been
dream
insightful.
time. Oh mate, it was cool. They're actually pretty funny, but there's some good value there. But Tommy's been on the podcast a few times, but also an active member in the group and in the circle. But yeah, Tommy, over to you, mate. I'd love to sort of learn, I guess get an overview of what you learnt from the book in the last month, and then just even any of the conversations that we had in the inner circle and things that you're looking to implement, and what you wish you knew earlier that probably some of the guys could take away.
Yeah, well, I think we've established before that, I always reckon that a book finds you. Like, this book's always been on my radar for probably 5 years now. I never really got stuck into it. And it was perfect because I think it was just a time in my life where I sort of came to a few crossroads, was questioning a few things, and couldn't really work out, what I needed to address, and I think so. For me, what I really initially took from the book was that in modern day sort of business and relationships, we can really get confused between character and personality, and I think personality can be a band-aid, and we're always looking to be that enigmatic person, or that person who is outgoing, who is fun, because they think that they're the person that's going to be successful in business. But actually, underneath all that, there is an infrastructure of character that has to be in place. And I think in all relationships, and so this is what I've taken initially, is that integrity, honesty, truth, all those things have to be the foundation of everything you do. And then on the top of that, you can overlay personality, which just gives it a bit of like icing on the cake. But what happens is, if you don't have those things in place, then personality wears thin, and people actually, your relationships break down because people see through personality, and they actually get to see what the character is underneath. And I know for a fact that I've overlaid some strong things with personality on character. So I've had to address the things that I wanted to deep within me, which has been a bit of soul searching and a bit of honesty. So I started off with that. And so now every question or every decision I make within a relationship, whether it's business or whether it's friends, is this true to my value of honesty, integrity, truth? And then I can make the right decision based on that. And bearing in mind, the right decision is not always the easiest decision. And I think in the past, I've tried to go with the easier decisions, not to upset people, but it's never been the right decision.
That's fucking cool. How did you become aware? Like, how you said before, you sort of realized a few of those things in yourself. Like, how did you sort of become aware of that sort of stuff? For people who are, because it's always, I don't know whether you experience this, and this may be a little bit of a tangent, but we'll fucking hit it anyway. Like, where you overthink things and you're like, is it, is this what I should really be doing? But then if you think about it more, you're like, am I just thinking too much about processes, or too deep? But like, I always have, if you were in my head and I'd imagine you probably do the same as me, actually, so I know you pretty well, but where you just go deep and then you're like, fuck me, I've just spent an hour overthinking something, but rather than just taking action and letting it be. So how do you sort of get to the point where you're like, no, this is what I need to act on?
Oh, it's mine. Hang on, am I back? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh yeah, sorry, say that again, mate. I missed out what you said there.
Mate, that's probably good that you cut out, because I don't even think it made sense what I just said, to be fair. But I was saying, and this is sort of a take two now, so for those who are listening, I'm getting a take two at this question. What sort of brought that to your awareness that you needed to do some, like, make some changes in your life and look at some of those things? Were there things that you had sort of been aware of that you were just sort of, like you were saying, choosing the easy route, or were there things that sort of just, I guess, flared up when you started looking a little bit deeper and asking yourself better questions?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think there was a cyclical pattern of things that were happening in my life. And I was like, at the start, you think, oh, this is just life, and you deal with it. But then you actually dig a bit deeper and you go, it's got to be something to do with me. And you only know what you know. And so then when you start to go a bit deeper and you find the resources such as this book to go, actually, the fundamental basics of what's going wrong here is there are a few character traits that you just need to strengthen and you need to just operate from. But it was a journey to get to that point. It wasn't like a case of going, oh, it's my character. It was like there has to be a lot of pain associated with that, so that you look inside, so that you have enough drive to want to change.
Yep.
So that was the journey there. So yeah, it wasn't one thing. It was just a combination of me wanting to improve and in a lot of things in life, and then having to understand what it was that was the actual problem.
Yep. So of the 7 habits, right? And for those who aren't aware of what the 7 habits are, there's be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first things first, think win-win, seek first to understand, then be understood, which is my favorite of all time. Yeah. Synergize, and then sharpen the saw. Which one for you sort of had the greatest impact, and what did you take away from it, or what are you looking to implement with it?
I think seek first to understand, like you said, Locke, is that empathetic listening is such a key component to success, because within business you have to have that if you're going to look for win-win scenarios, because unless you know what fully understand where they're coming from, all you're thinking about is your preconceived answer. And I found that within relationships as well. It was like I'd be talking to my wife, and then she'd be talking, but in my head I'm thinking I already know the answer to this. So when you know that, the brain automatically shuts off to actually listening, and all you're doing is just hearing what she's saying, not listening, and then you just come out with your response as soon as it's done. And that's no good communication there. You can't have what they talk about in the book of a really strong interdependent relationship, where you've got 2 strong personalities that are independent of each other that come together to create a better scenario based on the level of thinking that is above both of them together. And I think that's, and that it was almost impossible to move forward in a relationship till you have the ability to be an empathetic listener, and that's in business and in personal stuff.
100%. I think it's one of the most powerful things as well. I remember the first time I heard it, and it was probably through you or Andy or someone like that, and it was just like the biggest penny drop moment for me on how where I was going wrong in my life. Like, I think all of us, there's opportunities happening every day for every single person that walks the planet, I believe, but it's whether we're open to understanding them, or also the opportunity to learn from other people. But I guess we won't take up too much more of your time, but one of the ones that sort of I know triggers or frustrates a lot of people is beginning with the end in mind, right? Like, people don't like to say, oh, fuck, I don't know where I want to be in 10 years or what that looks like. But for you, like, what did that mean to you? And is it something that you've sort of lived by now? Or if not, is it something that you're going to start considering a bit more?
It's actually helped me, suppose, more in business. I run sort of in charge of 6 managers that run their own gyms here. And just to give you an example, I used it the other day. The 6 gyms all had open days. But what we did, so that we had focus on the actual result we wanted for that day, we took what we wanted from the open day to be the result, and then we worked back on the steps that we needed to implement to make sure we got that result. Because what you find with open days, we were just putting together stuff here and there that really wasn't anything to do with what we wanted with the end result. So we sat down and go, this is what the end result we wanted. And then we worked back from that and then implemented stuff so that we knew that the end result was what we were all working towards.
Yeah, that's freaking phenomenal. It's such an important thing. And, you talk about it with business, but it's equally as important to, I believe anyway, it's something that I've been doing for probably 5 or 6 years, is think about in the overall aspects of your life, because it's really easy to become pigeonholed in your way of thinking and forget about other aspects. It's generally why I would say a lot of us blokes end up in a position where we sacrifice so much, whether it's our health, our relationships, mateships, even, just because we're so focused on being that protector and provider, when I think ultimately all of them, equally as important. Just, some need a little bit more time than others at certain points in your life. But yeah, moving forward. But for you, like, I guess before we wrap up, what was sort of the biggest thing you're looking to implement, or the most important thing you're looking to implement off the back of that, reading that book?
I think for me, it's the continue. So for me to, and then, like, I think what I got out of it as well, like, the personality or the ego always likes to shortcut the hard work, and always tries to band-aid it. So for me, it was understanding exactly what was the character traits I need to work on, put some healthy practices in place that I did on a daily basis or do on a daily basis, and just be consistent with that over an extended period of time, to make sure that they then become my character. And, there's what I learned was there's no quick fix for this. There's no shortcut. There's nothing else I can do. I just got to live by the way I plan my life, the healthy stuff that I'm trying to do 90% of the time, and live by those morals of integrity, honesty, and be truthful, and within business and within personal relationships, because ultimately I think that is long-term success for life for you.
Fucking oath. Love it, mate. Mate, I appreciate your time. I know you're an extremely busy man. You're obviously managing a whole fucking heap of people with what you're doing, and you're about to go travel again. So thanks for making the time, and especially, even showing up every week. You could be doing anything else, but what really inspires me about you, you've always been one of those people, you're the person who gave me the opportunity to change my life, but also you inspire me. You've got a shitload of stuff going on in your life, but you still make time to continue to grow and show up, for yourself.
There's so many people like that need to. It's not really a sacrifice once you really realize that you got to have a growth mindset, and you got to continually surround yourself with good people. Is the reason I jumped on the inner circle with you and thought that was going to be a really good investment, because there's like-minded people who want to better themselves, who need to improve. And that's one thing that I had to change, was the people I surrounded myself with, and that's why there's so much value being part of these calls and being part of the Man That Can project, because ultimately there's so many people on this journey as well, and it starts with your environment. And so this is a really positive environment that you created here. So yeah, thanks, Doc, for having me on, and I just really enjoying it.
Appreciate it, mate. And we'll go for a hit of golf soon, eh?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
All right, gents, thanks for tuning in. I hope you got a heap of learnings from that. Before you go, make sure you swing by and listen to a few more episodes if you haven't tuned in before, or if you have, please take an extra moment to leave a review, because the more reviews we get, or the shares we get of this, is helping put these educational conversations and real life lived experiences in the hands of other men who need it. So thank you guys for being a part of the solution and creating this brotherhood and growing this brotherhood. Have an epic day, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachlan Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.